Where?
I usually place like a mile, like a no.
So this is our fourth day out like this week.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna be really intentional. We're gonna be like, I wanna ask another question. How many of you guys have these, one of these?
We were in Tuesday, but we were out Monday.
So I wanna ask you, Sarah, so how do you think you could have got yourself as a freshman from say a 0 to a 2? How do you think you could have got yourself there, from there to there?
I think if I had like leadership or somebody guiding me in the right direction, then possibly.
Nice.
But I mean, I just didn't have anybody telling me like, oh, you should go about a situation this way rather than that way.
All day training with about 60 students.
We're here to help each other navigate best practice. How do I get from point A to point B? Does that make sense? Cool. All right, so what we're gonna do right now, Emily, if you will, talk just for a minute, or however long you wanna go on this really, but just kind of give us an overview of the commitment sheet and then you know what to do from there.
Okay, so this is your application that y'all turned in, which first of all, I think it's awesome y'all even picked one of these up because that shows that y'all have a servant's heart and you see where mentorship is needed in your school and how y'all could have used it. That's how I felt when I first signed up to do this. I was like, I could see where I needed that as a freshman.
Wednesday, a few schools actually, because Arnulfo, you were at a school too. And then yesterday was all day with schools, and then today is going to be part of the day with schools, and then some editing and some laptop email work. So why is it that we do this? Why is it that? Because it's been like this for a while. It's been out at schools with students, meeting with administrators, trainings, just different things. It's been like this for quite a while, and a lot of travel, a lot of air travel, a lot of hotel rooms, a lot of nights away from being with my wife and kids. And you gotta know, like, that's, like, for me, that is a sacrifice to be a night away from my wife and kids, even if it's during the week, because I, like, you know, said it to a group of students yesterday, like, why would you go out and travel across the country and try to help somebody else's kids if you're not going to be there for your own kids, right? So my youngest son's 13th birthday was yesterday. My calendar was blocked off for that, and it's actually always forever blocked off for things like that. So, you know, why do you do that? I heard a while back that there's a difference between a platform and a stage.
iPhone, or it's like you're still here. Thank you. How many of you, true story?
So they look like the same thing, but the difference is a stage is for a performance and a stage is for a performer, but a platform is for a mission and a message.
And it's why I say it loud. I could whisper it, but I want to make sure you get it. You're more than that. You are absolutely more than that. And you live in this world and you live in this culture that says that you've got to live up to a certain way or a certain thing or some kind of crazy, like who even decided what the standard of cool was or whatever. But no, you've got to live up to that. And because you feel the pressure to live up to that, you walk around trying to be someone that you were never designed, never even created to be. You're not designed to walk around and be a copycat of some other thing. You were created to be uniquely you, with the gifts and the talents and the potential for expertise and different things that you bring to the table.
So that's kind of self-explanatory. And then that kind of leads to something else, doesn't it? That leads to, well, you know, is it do you talk, do you speak to students because you feel like you're, you know, a gifted speaker, or is it something else? So yeah, when I'm in front of students, and I love being in a room. I love being in a room full of people. I love having organic conversations. I love watching it flow and see where it goes. I'm not afraid of live Q&A at all, just not even a little bit. Things like that terrify some people. It just doesn't me. The way that I'm wired, my DNA, it's like I love being in front of a room. And it's not even that I have this inward drive where I have to be the center of attention in a room. It's not even that. I just like it. I enjoy interacting with groups of people.
And she's well aware that you're just not ready for that stuff.
Yes, she is.
Well, I would just straight up tell her that you're not ready, but I would also reassure her that it's something that she needs to be done. Because this problem, it doesn't necessarily need to be you and her against each other. It's you and her against the problem. See, when you do intimacy with a relationship, it will either break you or bring you closer. And you need to make sure that she knows that it's not anything to be insecure about. Because automatically, boy or girl, if they're rejected from sex, they're going to feel like it's either their body or something they've done. And then they're going to start having self-doubt, and they're not going to be confident in themselves like they used to be. And they've already opened up themselves to you. You need to reassure her and make sure she knows that it is nothing that she's caused. But you also need to tell her that you don't respect the pressure. Because it's equal. It's nothing more than another.
All right, let me hit a timeout, because you throwing him
Man, that's like a curveball. Like, jeez. Wow. Like, she's dancing. She knows how to dance and preach.
I agree 100% with her little end zone dance just now, right? But here's what I'm curious of. You're winning. Is he?
I feel like he would be. I'm giving him the tools to fix the problem.
All right, so like I'm sitting back here like wanting to take notes. Like, I'm seriously, dude, I lead dad's calls, right? And some of this different, of course, issues, but stuff comes up. And this whole thing, like it's not you against her, it's y'all against the problem. I'm like, hey, we did that 2 weeks ago. You know, I'm like, wow, that's solid. In the way that she said it was actually better than we scripted it out. You know what I'm saying? So that, seriously, yeah, that's
awesome.
Richard, what I want to hear from you is how much of this are you able to take away? Like, what do you? So you hear her say stuff. So tell me what you just heard her say.
Well, I heard her say, you got this, man. Everything she said was valid.
No, tell me 2 takeaways from what she just told you.
I took away that after reassuring that it's not her. Okay. Because it's gonna make her insecure and stuff like that.
Okay.
And that it's us against the problem, not
Alright, so you have no idea, like what you just said, I mean, stinking amazing, like gold standard, like solid advice, right? Like, like that was really, like you need to start vlogging. That was seriously good. So I'm not even kidding you, but here's my thing, right? So, am I on a soapbox with him? Or am I trying to get him from a 2 to a 4? And how do I let him be a part of his own solution? Does that make sense?
Okay.
Want to do it again?
Well, can we just, I don't want to say all that over again, but can we like start from there? Like,
See, I think if you work to get him from a 2 to a 4, you don't have to start all over because it's a completely different approach.
Right.
How do you get him to say what you're thinking without you saying it?
I need to ask him, like, what does he think he needs to say to her?
100%.
That's a moment. You should probably write that down. How do I get the other person to say what I'm thinking?
So what's the difference? Because you can be like a gifted speaker and yet not an effective communicator. So the idea of being an effective communicator, like, you don't have to be a gifted speaker to be an effective communicator. And I think that's what a lot of people don't get. It's not just the gift of the gab. It's not just, show up completely unprepared and go for it, whatever it is. It's like, and this is the difference between, you know what, I'm not even going to say this is the difference between a platform and a stage, because people rehearse for a performance, and then there again, if you feel like you're coming from a place of platform, then you've definitely taken time. Like, what your mission is, what your message is, exactly what your why is, and how to communicate it. So I just want to take a minute, kind of document a little bit of this today. If you can kind of see the surroundings, we're out in rural West Alabama. Again, love coming out here, love hanging out with these guys, love serving their schools out here. It's a privilege to work with these guys. We never take any of these for granted. We never take any school, any student, doesn't matter the size of the school, never take this stuff for granted. So it's it's a great opportunity, and we're glad that we get to do it.
If he changed his mind, I could jump on him or something, I mean, what else? But he walks out, and we came down the bleachers on this side, and like the exit from the building to the outside was like down around out that door over there. And we walk out of that door over there, and one of our coaches, one of our gym coaches, is standing there as we're walking out. I'm like, telling him on the new shirt, like, come on, dude, like, follow me out. And he got in, he's walking out with us, and when we get outside and when we're at kind of a safe distance from the door, I'm like, hey Freddie, do you have something you need to say to Coach? And Freddie takes out a pistol out of his pocket and he gives it to Coach. And Coach started crying. And Coach put his arm around Freddie and walked Freddie back into the school. And for the second time in my life, someone that I felt like I cared a lot about, I never saw them again. I never saw Freddie again after that. I have no idea what happened to him. Here's what I know. I know that he didn't show up to school that day. We even went by to visit their house that summer, and they packed up their stuff and moved. And you know what, guys? I just wonder how much some things are different today, right? How many of you have one of these? How many of you have a data plan? And how many of your data plan does not work in this building? How many of you live your life through a lens? You live your life through a filter. You curate your life. I want to ask you guys a question, and you don't have to raise your hands here. You don't have to raise your hand. I want to know how many of you ever posted something to social only to 5 or 6 minutes later take it down because somebody either said something pretty cruel or you didn't get enough likes in a specific time frame. Like if you don't get 38 likes in 2.7 seconds, it's got to come down because it's just not going to meet the social prayer. Like I'm just not going to get approval for that. Like it's just not accepted. You know what I'm saying? It's just not there. I want to ask you guys another question. How many of you have both biological parents at home? You have both a mom and a dad? Bow mom and bow dad. Hands down. How many of you have only one of your biological parents at home? Bow mom or dad. So we're about, some of you guys are raising your hands. From the hands raised, it looks like we're about 50%. How many of you guys have little brothers or sisters, like younger brothers or sisters? How many of you, your parents ever like tell you how to treat your younger brothers and sisters? Like if you're in a fight, they like stop you and they're like, no, that's not how it works. Let me ask you this. How many of you with only one bio mom, better yet, how many of you with both your bio mom and your bio dad and you have little brothers or sisters? Raise your hand. How many of you guys have ever seen your parents work out an argument? How many of you guys did not see your parents work out an argument, but you've seen your parents divorce? How many of you guys seen your parents divorce? You know what we're setting you up for? You know what we're teaching you? We're teaching you how to not resolve conflict. We're teaching you how not to get along with one another. And not only that, we're teaching you how to live in this world where you put up the prettiest picture that you possibly can, and you curate it, and you run it through Photoshop, and you run it through all these kinds of filters, and you got to get the lighting just right. And you guys are like professional social media agents, and you're like 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, and you're already like hustling like your Instagram and Snapchat accounts, right? And you're already there, and you're living and dying on the approval and the acceptance of another person. It's like if he doesn't like my stuff, if she doesn't like whatever I post, then the whole city of the world's falling apart. If somebody doesn't give you that social, that approval, where they put their thumb on it, where they put their stamp on you, like if they're not showing you the love, it's the same thing with my friend Freddie. If we don't fit in, we're falling apart. And some of you guys, here's the truth of it. Some of you guys have already shared stuff that you would probably never want to share again through a text message or through something on Instagram or something on Snapchat because you actually buy the myth that, yeah, it's going to disappear 24 hours later. That's not true. I just want you to know there's an organization right now in San Jose, California that's a spin-off of Snapchat, and here's like their whole business model. They're waiting on they've got like a 10, 12-year game plan where they're waiting on legislation to change in America so that whatever you post like now, like it's supposed to disappear, right? And if you delete it, it's not supposed to be there, right? Bogus. That's not true. Those little end-user license agreements that you just haphazardly like agree to, you're giving your content away. So whatever you post, there's an organization in San Jose, California. I know because I met some of these people this last April out in Malibu. And their whole business model is this. Whatever you post, they own. They store. And in 10, 15 years from now, when you guys are ready to go get jobs, this is their plan. HR companies, like human resources organizations, like headhunting agencies, like people who are responsible to hire other people, like to come and work, like this organization is going to offer their services to see what kind of social life you have had. That's going to be a part of your background check. A part of your background check as an employee will be checking your social history. So if you're posting like content, dare I say nudes and stuff like that, if you're sexting, texting, whatever, dare I say something like that, because we're really young in the room, right? Yeah, that's bogus. Guys, this is literally your future that you're going to have to pay them somewhere between $59 a month and $109 a month for them to keep what's supposed to be your information offline. It sounds like blackmail, but we already are leaning that way. That's some of the ramifications of it. Oh, but I've got to send him this, or I've got to send her this, or she won't like me, or he won't like me, or I won't be accepted by him, them, or whatever. Oh, I've got to do this, right? He's pressured me, she's pressured me, they're pressured. You know the only pressure comes from your sensitive animals. I want you to think about that for about 2 seconds. The only pressure comes from your own sense of insecurity. The only pressure you have comes from, I'm looking for approval. I want someone to sign off on me. I want someone to tell me that I'm good enough. I want someone to tell me that I'm pretty enough, cute enough, or whatever enough. I want someone to tell me that I'm smart enough. I want someone to tell me, I want someone to look at my life and think a certain way in my life. I rarely post on social media these days. I live a crazy, awesome life. But I rarely post it on social because I'm not going to take my life and rub it in the faces of other people. That's garbage. That's garbage. And here's the truth, guys. The measure of a person, the measure of a human, the identity of a person, it's not in the label you're wearing or not. It's not on the emblem on your t-shirt, or the emblem on the back of your phone, or the emblem on your mom and dad's car, or some emblem on something in your house, or even the lack of a house, or the lack of a car, or the lack of a phone, or the lack of like good clothes. Are you guys with me? Because the feeling that I get in the room is that like some of you don't believe it, right? The feeling that I get in Hamilton, Alabama, is that some of you don't actually believe this. The feeling that I get is almost like this social snobbery that's happening, and you're like, maybe this talk is for somebody else. This isn't me. That's kind of the sense that I get in the room. I may be wrong, but it's kind of the sense that I get. You know what, man? The measure of a person is how much we can actually reach out and serve and help another. The measure of a person is what Freddie did with me. I mean, this dude had every right in the world on that day to join the crowd and to jump on that same bus and to make fun of me. But he didn't do that. He didn't do that at all. He jumped up in that moment. He stood out. He went a different direction, and he decided, you know what, man? I'm gonna do something here. I'm gonna add some value here. I'm gonna be there for that guy. I'm gonna stand for him. I know what it looks like for nobody to stand with me or to stand for me, but I'm gonna stand for him, with him in this moment. And I'm just curious, how many of you guys have ever had the opportunity to do that? You probably had the opportunity hundreds, if not thousands of times, but have you actually done it yet? And see, when you have that opportunity and you don't step out in that opportunity, see what Freddie was a hero because he actually did it. And the definition of a hero is not some overweight guy flying around with a cape on. A hero is a person who has strength for for another. It's somebody who's strong. It's somebody who can be there for just more than one. And the opposite of that is a coward. A coward is a person who doesn't even have strength for themselves. And man, if you could only see the value of you. Some of you guys, if you could only realize the power of your own influence. Some of you guys sitting in the room, even in like 5th, 6th, 7th grade, whatever, you've already got more than 50, more than 100, more than 200, more than 500. There's probably about some of you guys have like more than 1,000 followers already on social. That's like more people than within like a half-mile square radius, and you got that kind of following already on social. You got influence and you don't even know what to do with it. You think it's about you. Some of you guys, you think your influence is about you. It's not. It's always about the other. It's always about the other. What am I doing for the other? So some of you guys, I just want to tell you, because you need to know this. Young lady, young man, there's more worth in you than you even know. There's more value in you than you've ever been told. There's more about you that's ever been communicated to you in your entire life. Maybe your bio mom or your bio dad's not communicating any kind of value to you. Maybe like me, like your dad stepped out sometime before you were born and you never heard his voice. Maybe you've never got that affirmation from a parent or from like somebody who really cares about you. But I want to tell you, man. I want to tell you, young lady. The fact that you're here and the fact that you showed up today, the fact that you have the ability to listen and to comprehend and to understand, the fact that you were like born in this country, the fact that you're here in this country right now, the fact that you have an opportunity, the fact that you have an opportunity for education, the fact that you have an opportunity to do life with other people, the fact that you get to eat, the fact that you get to be indoors, the fact that you get to have heat. Do you realize the gift of privilege that you've been given? Because you're here in this room right now. And see, here's my greatest fear and my greatest hope are the same. My greatest fear is that you won't realize what you have. But my greatest hope is that you will realize what you have and you'll act on it and you'll walk in it. That's my greatest hope. My greatest hope is that you'll realize actually who you are. My greatest hope that as a human, as a person, you'll get who you are. You'll get the value that you bring to the table. You'll get the worth that you are, and you'll walk in that, and you'll be amazing in that. That's my hope. Does that make sense? Guys, my name is John. You can find me on Insta at John Williams. It's been great with you today. Thank you. Hey, in the event of cabin depressurization, make sure you securely fasten your oxygen mask before you try to help anybody else around you. It's like physical shape. It's like preparation for a test. Before you can ever help someone else, before you can ever add value to someone else, you first have to be in a position to where you've gained utility so that you can add value. Does that make sense? If you're a guy in a relationship with a girl, if you're a girl in the relationship with a guy, if you're a person in a relationship with another person, that still holds true. If you want to add value to that relationship, you have to be in a position where you can actually add value. Does that make sense? It's the same way. So I'm going to get out of you guys' way. I think you guys do need to stay in here. I think we're great on time, probably. Let me ask you guys this. Do y'all have any questions? Does anybody have any questions? We can take some of those. Are you sure? See, I can never do that. I'm a little So here's the thing, guys. So let's just go ahead and jump in and get started. So when you see someone like me, when you see someone like one of your faculty, when you see somebody like one of your principals or whatever, and maybe you even see the car that they drive, you see the way that they carry themselves, you see the way they dress, you see whatever, you see the way that they talk and stuff, and you probably think, okay, this person kind of has it together, right? Like their pants look clean, their shirt doesn't stink, like whatever, right? You see this, and you probably make these gross assumptions, like we stereotype all the time, don't we? And you probably make these stereotypes, well, maybe this person like always had things great, like their life probably looked like a postcard, like it's Thanksgiving and Christmas time, and you're probably thinking, well, my world's falling apart, but theirs probably never has. And here's the truth. If you look at people like that, like us, like me, and make those types of stereotypes, what you would probably find yourself is you would probably find yourself dead wrong. Because for me, that's not the way it happened at all. I've never met my biological father. I have no idea what his voice sounds like. I have no idea what it's like when he walks into a room. No idea. No clue. Grew up in a home where there was a lot of alcoholism, there was a lot of drug abuse, there was a lot of just stupid, crazy stuff that should have never happened. It was a daily thing that someone was getting cussed out, someone was getting popped in the face with a fist. Like it was all the time. Like that was a daily reality for me. So I want to tell you guys two things today. One, the first is, it's been said, hurt people, hurt people. Hurt people, hurt people. And this is a little bit of what that means. Any of you guys ever go home from school and you're just exhausted and you just need a nap? And you just every day, right? Every day, bro. Yeah, this guy right here, like I'm about to take one now while you're talking. Just don't look my way. So 4th grade, that's me. 4th grade, I go home on like a Friday. It's after school. I just crash on the couch. I like use my book bag as my pillow. And then like 2 or 3 hours later, I wake up, and I wake up to the screams of my Aunt Kathy with my Uncle James just with his hand around her throat, and dude just like 6'3", 240, 60-pound man, whatever. And he's just laying into just beating my Aunt Kathy, this little 5'4", 5'5", 130, 40-pound woman soaking wet. You know what I'm saying? He's just hitting her in the face, just popping her, just like. And my little kid cousin, who's a few years younger than me, y'all got to remember, this is 4th grade for me, right? And this was like daily. And my little cousin's sitting in the middle of the living room, and he's like 2 or 3 years younger than me, and Charlie's just got front row seats to watching his mom.
So, as always, let's kind of wrap it up, and let me leave you with a thought. So the thought is, whatever you feel like your natural gifting is, whatever you feel like your, like you can just do, just because you can do it. Maybe you're artistic, maybe you're good with numbers, like whatever. You may be those things. Like you may even be a gifted speaker. Like you may even have the gift of the gab. But it doesn't mean you're effective. And I know even still, man, I've been doing this thing for a long time. I've been doing this for a while. And every time I get in front of a group of folks, every time I know like an event's coming up or whatever, it's still this mental process where I want to get myself in a position to where my heart and my head and my mouth is ready to serve. So sometimes better than others. Sometimes are like, I wish I had a do-over. And sometimes are like, wow, where did that come from? But anyway, that's just how it goes sometimes.
Why can't that come out just through like the person inside of you, like this and this? Like, why can't that be known? But we don't do that, do we? We live in these little fake plastic bubble worlds where we curate our lives, and now we throw filters on them, and we adjust the lighting, and we all do, and God bless if it doesn't get like 40 likes in the first 5 or 6 seconds after we hit that post button, then we tear it down because you know what? It just doesn't live up to whatever. First world problems, right? So I'm wanting these shoes, and I'm like just mad at my mom. I'm mad at my mom in the car. I'm mad at my mom on the way home. And like I'm walking through the house still just salty as you could possibly be. I'm yelling at my mom. I walk by the Christmas tree. I grab the thing in the middle. I like reach out, grab it, throw it down. The thing breaks in half. Ornaments fly everywhere. And I'm yelling at my mom, and I'm like, I hate you, Mom! And I'm just kind of just letting her have it, man. You ever been there? Every day, bro. Like my mom was kind of tough, like she's a handful. And then she's like standing over here, and she's just like crying and just broken and just like, and there's this look on her face like, did I wait too long before I moved my sons out? Did I leave them like too overexposed to her brother, my uncle? My kid brother, he's like standing over here by the front door, and he's got some little what I'm talking about, little Kmart Velcro shoes on. He's got some like gray, like jogging sweatpants on, like a blue, like jogging sweatshirt. Like his whole outfit didn't even cost like $20, And he's over here just like, he's broken because he's seeing his brother act like his uncle used to act. When we, you know what I'm saying? And hurt people.
I just wonder, without raising your hands or anything like that, how many of you guys have absolutely seen your mom or your dad fail one another, and because of that, you see some of the same characteristics in some of your own relationships, even through high school?
How many of you, and you, without having to raise your hands, how many of you still carry some of that with you? You still carry some of the pain and some of the hurt from that with you. And how many of you, I'm just curious if you're honest, like whatever it was that led your parents into that argument, whether it was jealousy, whether it was like whatever, whether it was like, and you bring some of those character traits with you into some of the relationships that you have with others. Because we act how we were taught to act. You understand what I'm saying? Does that make sense? That's what we do. That's what we do. Now, it's not what we have to do. But if we're not intentional about it, it's where we let ourselves slip off into. Does that make sense? So, hurt people, but here's what I believe. And one day we need to put this on a t-shirt or a coffee mug or something. Hurt people, but healed people can help heal people. Healed people can help heal people. I know that sounds kind of squishy. I know that sounds kind of soft. I know that sounds like